Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon and good evening. My name is Margaret Pinard. I'm a historical fiction and fantasy author, and you're on Booktube. Welcome to the channel. Turn this down a little bit. Uh, whew. Okay, so it is Sunday. It is the Sunday after Independent, not international, Independent Bookstore Day. So right now, my floor is littered with all my lovely new finds, but that is not the purpose for today's feed. I did a little preview of that on Instagram. But today's purpose of the live stream is to talk about the readathons for next month because it is almost the end of April, which means we got to be getting ready for May reading. And May, I think the most community-oriented readathon is for Asian authors. And there's a YouTuber who used to be called Read with Cindy, but then she got too big to just be reading with people, and she's now just with Cindy because she does lots of other things. And she's got a great readathon that is highlighting the contributions of Asian authors in literature and nonfiction. And so it's a very loose readathon. There's no prompts, there's no like contest. It's just basically like read works by Asian authors. And Asian is a very inclusive definition. Here's the link to her, where did I put it? Where did I put it? I might have put it on the description instead of my little cheat sheet. She has a StoryGraph page, and I didn't put it there either. Where did I put it? It's the bit.ly link that I just made. Where'd it go? There we go. Readathon StoryGraph page. So she has a StoryGraph page and it's very inclusive. That's where I was. And basically, the only prompts are just highlighting which countries are included. So if you go to the StoryGraph page, she starts with Afghan authors and goes all the way down to, what's the latest in the alphabet? Uzbeki? Yeah, Uzbek authors. No, it's after that is Laos. Okay, so I don't understand the alphabetization, but there's also subcategories with genres, and all this good stuff. There's also a category that you might have to use that I thought was useful, and that is can't determine, and I can't find it now. But of course, if you believe an author is Asian, but you don't want to go poking around in their business and like try to pin them down or out them or whatever, there's a category for that. There we go. Authors whose ethnicities aren't confirmed. So I have one of those in my stack today. And so as for what we'll be doing today, it is going over my strenuous recommendations for works by Asian authors. And I've got some real good ones, some ones that I really love that I'd love to share. So if you're looking for a way to participate in the readathon, a way to expand your reading, a way to diversify your bookshelf, this might be a good way. So I've got lots of different genres and categories of books as well. Some audiobook, ebook, some physical. So just to start with, I'm going to go with the cookbook section because I looked. I'm reading one right now. It's very interesting. And some of the categories that are included in Asian writ large, you might not consider Asian because it's Middle Eastern, but she made the decision to include them because they don't have their separate month for celebrating those types of books. And so she goes one by one, all the Middle Eastern states as well as nations without a state. So again, just being inclusive and pointing to different populations that are writing literature, writing nonfiction literature. Anyway, and so that's great. And you could, put them in your StoryGraph page. So two that I really like that I have kept that are recent is Solo by Anita Lowe, modern cookbook for a party of one. I've had various cookbooks over the years that are like cooking just for a very small household. And this is the latest one I've tried, and I really like it, not only because of the format, um, but also the illustrations. She teamed up with like a really cool graphic illustrator, and it's not vegan. It's definitely like got meat, got vegetables, got fusion stuff. So if you want to be creatively stretched in the kitchen and have a unique partner guide in a cookbook, I think Anita Lowe's cookbook is really great, really fun read. Then the vegan version, I got The Korean Vegan by Joanne Molinaro, and I followed her on TikTok first, and that's where she kind of blew up and got this big following and ended up having this cookbook because she was recording basically like, how would I describe them? She was recording very short monologues about her family history and either the things that her parents or grandparents went through or how she grew up with her parents and the struggles in any of those cases, because they emigrated from North Korea to South Korea to America, and along the way had, various difficulties and obstacles to overcome. And just like Joanne, who talks about her own life and her struggles in loving herself and thinking that she's enough. So she was a lawyer, and then she got out of the law field and was a runner, and just started doing her own thing, what she wanted. And she has translated all these Korean recipes into vegan recipes and makes these delicious, mouthwatering videos, and then came out with the cookbook. So yeah, that's her, and I definitely recommend. And unless TikTok is gone by the time you watch this, following her lessons are really personal and heart-centered and honest and lovely. So that's why I got her cookbook. And then finally, the one I'm reading now, which I really like, is a partnership between someone who is Australian and someone who is Iraqi Jewish. And so he emigrated to Australia, and now they have a falafel shop that has turned into more of like a full-on restaurant, and it's called Very Good Salads. The authors are Shuki Rosenboim and Louisa Allen, and their shop is called Very Good Falafel. So I was attracted to this because it feels like springy, summery, and healthy, and the flavors are very Mediterranean fusion influenced, and vegetarian, mostly vegan, and so I thought that sounded healthy and inspirational. So cookbooks, in case you needed Asian authored cookbooks, those are the ones in my arsenal. Okay, so now moving back into like literature, I'm going to show you some that you've seen recently. So if you follow Berna's Bookish Adventures, she is a Turkish booktuber, and she just read this one in Turkish. I read it several years ago in English. It's a graphic memoir by a very talented writer and illustrator called Özge Samanci, and it's called Dare to Disappoint: Growing Up in Turkey. And this is like a memoir that is a self-help guide for some people who have trouble disappointing other people's expectations. And so I just took that really to heart. I really liked her message, and like it was very funny and just a great read. So if this was not something that you got to for People April, you can always pick it up for Asian Readathon in May if you did manage to get it from the library, or maybe it was late from the library. And don't forget, you can always request that your library make a purchase. So I have some chat that I forgot to say hello to. Hi, Anita. Welcome. I've got the Storygraph page link in the chat, just in case anyone wants to look at all the different nations and countries that are listed. And that's Sky. Hey, G. Stopping by to say hi. Hit the like button. You'll have to catch the replay. Happy Readathon. Thank you. Eva's here to say hello. Hello, friends. And Leah. Hello, hello. Good morning. Ooh, Anita's got some good indie author recs. J.C. Kang, ML Wang, and Lee Murray. That is great. So I would recommend, if you're able and using Storygraph, to go on Storygraph and look up those authors' names and then see what books come up and see if you can find them in your local community, and request them. Maybe you can find them on Amazon or on bookshop.org. I've got links down in the description for bookshop.org if you want to pop over with my affiliate link. But thank you for the names. That's helpful. Okay, so favorites you might have seen before on this channel. R.F. Kuang's Babel, an Arcane History. So it is a chunker. It's a big, beautiful book. It's historical fantasy, and it takes place in 1830s Oxford for the most part. And the brilliant piece of this novel, in my opinion, is that it's about colonialism and identity. And even though there's magic and mischief mixed in, the real point is about, like, how do we untangle the threads of empire and make the world a better place. And this is such a dramatic book. So hopefully that's what you end up asking yourself after reading it. And yeah, no spoilers. But if you have read it and are curious what I thought, I actually did a buddy read with 2 other folks, with Lisa and Rachel. And I went and looked up some of the links for this in case you're curious. So this is our buddy read. And don't be alarmed, Lisa is in a dark car, but it's because she needed to go somewhere else for her Wi-Fi signal. So it looks kind of funny, but we had a ball discussing this book. We all really loved it and had different interesting angles to contribute to. So it was great. So Leah says she's going to look up the indie author names. Way to go. That is the link for the buddy read video. Oh, and Mrs. Peacock is back. Hello, reading The Night Tiger by Yang Se Cho. Okay, well, my other recommendation by that author is coming up. So if you don't finish this book until May, I always count the book in the month that I finish it, you will have participated in the Asian Readathon. That's the cool part. Okay, so that's Babel. Then we've got another historical, which you may have heard of, Pachinko by Minjin Lee. This is a very long book as well. It's not as much of a page turner as Babel, but it is, and there's no magic, but it is very interesting. It's generation to generation. I think like three or four maybe generations of basically the Korean experience in Japan. And so again, a little bit of colonialism, but more about the angle of racism within the Asian community that maybe us white people don't really see because it's internal. So I thought this is really valuable in terms of different perspective and getting to know what happened during World War II in other places rather than the same, VE Day kind of battle statistics. You get to see what the consequences were, what living through it was like, what people did to survive, and like how that changes relationships. So I thought that was really neat. So Pachinko was a really good read, but as I said, a little bit slower paced and yeah, like for a measured reading rather than like page turning. So it's good. I've got a more modern one that is bookshop related. So again, happy Independent Bookstore Day from yesterday. This is called Welcome to the Hyunam-dong Bookshop by Hwang Borum. And in case you didn't know, I got to interview this author. So special. I don't get to interview many authors on this channel, but of books that I've read for my list, I did get to read this book and interview the author and the translator. So that is a first. Because I'm part of A Mighty Blaze, we had our first author interview in translation. I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm dropping the link for that into the chat now. We had a really great time. So yes, I really liked it. The novel is basically, I don't know if I'd call it autofiction, but it's about a woman who opens a bookstore because she's making a big life change. and she's trying to retrain herself to think in a different way so that she doesn't end up in the same burnout place. Sound familiar? And it's a really beautiful, slow, character-based, subtly funny, like dryly funny, but also exploring a few different characters who interact with her in deeper detail, and they're trying to understand, and how her efforts to understand herself and make life better sort of spreads out. And this small bookshop in the neighborhood in Seoul in Korea sort of spreads, and the effects ripple out. And it's just a really nice, heartwarming, cozy, self-help vibes, but in a novel format, and also behind the scenes bookshop business, which is pretty fair, pretty accurate. So I thought that was really neat and would definitely recommend. And you can also check out the interview if you want to learn more about the writing process and the translating process, because we did dive into that a bit. Okay, so okay, Mrs. Peacock saying, a few years back, my friend and I read each other's favorite books. Hers was Hotel in the Corner of Bitter and Sweet by Jamie Ford. I read that a long time ago. It was really good. Yeah. I know he's not an Asian author, but it was such a beautiful story. He might be of mixed heritage. I definitely have seen him talk on the subject. I would visit his website to check it out, because I think he might be, but I don't know. You'd have to check it out and see if he reveals it. Again, like, not interested in digging into people's backgrounds, but okay, so that's the link for the author and translator interview. Yeah, sign about discrimination, pachinko. Yeah. And in the literature vein, so Mrs. Peacock is reading The Night Tiger, which is Yang Se-chu's book before The Foxwife. So I listened to The Foxwife from Libro.fm, which is currently running a sale. I looked at one of the books that I am interested in, and it was like $5 instead of $25. So it's a big sale, and it runs until the end of today. So if you want to check out Libro.fm, there's a section where you can go through just the sale audiobooks. I would definitely recommend it. The author reads the book herself, which is amazing. I really think her voice is perfect for this. And this novel is about taking a part of Chinese folklore and weaving it into a modern mystery. So it's a woman who is a fox shapeshifter, which is the folklore part, and she's come to modern, like early 20th century China from the rural, I think, northwestern region, because her child died, and she's looking to see who's responsible, and then she gets mixed up in this sort of human tragic, like deaths and everything, and the motivations there. And then people who need to find each other, and it's like, it's another heartwarming book, but I love the fact that it wove in humor from a being who has been around for a long time, while also containing a lot of pathos for that, like, mother bond, and like a little bit of the trickster. So there's a lot of different levels and vibes that we sort of ping between for this, and it was a great resolution. I can't remember. I looked for the review for this. I didn't review the book on my channel. So I have on Storygraph when I finished it in late December 2023, and then I didn't include it in a wrap-up. So I skipped this book, which is unfortunate. I may have to go back and like make a specific review, because it's so good and I really recommend it. Great author. And now I have to go back and read The Night Tiger as well. What else have we got? We've got some more fiction, some older stuff on the channel. So another Bookshop book. We'll go to this one next. I'm sorry, I put it in square when it was supposed to be a different format, so it got cut off. Days at the Morisaki Bookshop is another translated from Japanese audiobook that I listened to by Satoshi Yagisawa. And apparently it's bloomed like a series. There's more days at the Morisaki Bookshop now. And basically, it's a woman who is just recovering from a breakup and not really able to recover. Like, she's seriously in the dumps. She goes to this sort of wacky family relative who has a bookstore and collapses and tries to rebuild her life. And she learns things about this family relative. She learns things about the neighborhood. She learns about herself. She sort of gradually builds back up. This is a slower and I'd say like more jagged. So whereas Hyunamdong Bookshop is more considered and people, before the dialogue comes out, you see people consider what they're saying and then say it gently. This is more like eruptions of feeling and drama, and the vibe is very different. There's secrets in the past, and like betrayal and redemption and all this sort of like way up and down feeling. So it's a little bit more drastic and volatile, I guess I'll say. But I did have to ask my brother who lives in Japan if this is a real, not the bookshop, but the neighborhood. And he said, yes, there is a neighborhood that's known for having like the most bookshops per square foot or whatever. And he said it's like 20 minutes from where he lives, something like that. So next time I visit, I will definitely be going there, even though, most of the books are going to be in Japanese. What am I going to do? I'm going to make a vlog is what I'm going to do. So this is lovely. This is a Libro.fm listen as well. I've got a few more books, but I just want to say hello to people in the chat. Shannon's here. Hello, hello. She made friends with the like button. Appreciate that. Thank you. I still have my alarm set for your old time for these Sunday live streams. Yeah. 10 a.m. Pacific on Sunday now, and noon on Wednesdays usually. Shannon says, I had an author interview for the podcast and then rolled right into AWC stuff. Got ready to message you on Discord. It was like, oh no, she's live right now. I know. Yeah. Changing times, trying to make room for people. Yeah, Leah says, I know where to go when I visit Japan. Yeah, if you're going to Tokyo, there's a certain neighborhood. And you find it in here. I can't remember the name right now, but yeah. Let's see. I do have a review for this one, so I can drop that in the chat if you want a little bit more detail. It's been a little time since I read it, so if you want more detail on it, that is in the chat. Let's see. So more literature ones. I did The Foxwife. I did Days at Morisaki Bookshop. Oh, way back. This is the first ever buddy read that I did on my Booktube channel. This is The Last Story of Mina Lee by Nancy Juyun Kim. And I listened to it. It was a Libro.fm pick. And I read it with Sandy Golston. And he doesn't post much anymore, but he's a fellow author on AuthorTube, and we both looked into this book, I think in a random October choice, and had a really interesting discussion. So, baby booktubers, do a buddy read. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? A lot of alliteration. So if you're curious, that is up on my channel. And what else have I got? Ooh, this one was also a long time ago. So Gold Diggers is a novel by Sanjana Satyan. I think she's had another novel come out since this one, but I haven't read that. This was, I believe, a debut, and it is a bit of magical realism. So it takes place in the US. It's not historical, it's modern. And it's the type of book that encompassed so many different things from around the world that I found myself thinking about it a lot and then wondering if it was real or if it was from the book, because they were so convincingly described. Like, it mostly takes place in the modern day, and there's these people who are studying for exams, I think, to like get into college, and they are a first or second generation immigrant family in the South. And there's, you know, pressure to get good grades, pressure to go to the right school, all that kind of like stereotypically Asian family structure stress. And so we explore that, but then also the magical realism bit is that there's a type of alchemical gold magic that they know how to do that makes, like, it's kind of like the potion in Harry Potter that if you drink you get lucky, whatever, you know, things you're working on. And so it basically takes us through some amusing adventures, but also some really painful moments of people facing up to what they do to get ahead. Like, I just found it a very twisty, turny tale, but also like it just sounds like the author had fun thinking about, well, where could this have gone wrong? I remember the teenagers in the South scene. I remember a random like visit to the California gold mining country and someone who might have lived there but didn't really. Like, I was convinced that it was true. And then like a wedding business expo in a convention center and like trying to steal something. It sort of, it meanders all over, but it has this, you know, common thread of gold diggers. I just thought it's very entertaining and very clever. And so I would love to recommend this to anyone for May reading. And I have a link for that one. Yes, I do. So if you want to get more into the review of that book, when I remembered more about it, there's the link for the review to watch. And then the last one, you know, when I was talking about Storygraph, I said there's a section that says not confirmed identity. And so that is what I would put this in, because it's nonfiction. It's like a psychological trauma, relationship trauma book, and very personal and honest. And the author talks a lot about her own history and her own experiences in an effort to help people who struggle with dependency issues and the mentality of what a healthy relationship is. So looks like it's time for me to get this out again. It's called Becoming the One by Shayliana Ayana. And I looked up her surname because I'm like, it sounds Pacific Islander, maybe Hawaiian. And Google tells me that this name, Ayana, is most common in Indonesia. And so I thought, okay, maybe she's part Indonesian. In the book and in her biography, she talks about having a very volatile childhood with her parents and I think foster homes or adoption. Or some sort of situation like that. And so, you know, it's one of those things where she's not sharing that she's part of a certain community, but I'm going to take the opportunity to recommend her writing and her practice as very valuable, and because I think she belongs to this community, so why not? But yeah, so basically Becoming the One refers to finding the one, and if you're on a wild goose chase looking for the one in your life, really what you probably want to do is become the one, like be the person that you need for yourself rather than look for someone else to complete you, because that's a dangerous framing for mental health. And mental health is also the theme for May. So mental health, May in America anyway, it's one of the things that they highlight. So if you want to combine the two, here you go. So I really recommend that. It's subtitled Heal Your Past, Transform Your Relationship Patterns, and Come Home to Yourself, which doesn't sound bad, does it? Oh, so yeah, it says sounds fun. I'll pick it up for the readathon. Yay! I think that was about gold diggers because the trauma healing is not something I would call fun. But, you know, necessary work, I think, if we want to be happy and contribute to the world. So those are my recommendations. Hopefully one or more of those hit it off with you. I tried to get some nonfiction, like the cookbooks and the psychology, in with all the lovely fiction that I could recommend. Some historical, some fantasy, some just plain fiction. And hopefully that'll like cover your bases if you want to participate in the readathon. And yeah, probably something I wouldn't read. I think you're talking about the psychology book. Yeah. Well, desperate times, my friend. Desperate times. Okay, so we're gonna look at, where did they go? I had a stack of to be read books. Where'd they go? There we go. Okay. There's too many books on the floor. This is what is the problem right now. Ugh. All right. So I've got books. I've got lots of books. I've got books that have been sitting on my shelf, and I think I looked at them last year and told myself, if you don't read them for Asian Readathon this year, you need to get rid of them. You need to unhaul them and let them go to someone who will appreciate them. That is The Boat by Nam Le. It's a Vietnamese, I think, immigration to America story. Or not. I think that's the author's story, but he's got a much wider range of short stories here. A child assassin in Colombia, an aging New York artist desperate for reconciliation. The suffocations of theocracy in Iran. So it's a short story collection. Hold on a second. My throat is not cooperating. 2010. So I think this is going to be Let Go. And then the other one was Chinese Hawaiian sort of stories, and I get the feeling it's kind of like Alice Hoffman, like growing up, and I don't know. I tried starting it. I didn't get very far last year, and then that's all that happened. I got to page 17. Like, it's interesting, but not my speed. So that's okay too. Again, let it go and let someone else appreciate the book. This has also been sitting on the shelf for a while, and I haven't read it. It's The Gilded Years by Karen Tanabe, and it's about Gilded Age, which Vassar. That's in New York. So what's interesting is that it's about the first African American woman to attend Vassar, and she was passing in Gilded Age, New York. So written by an Asian author, but about African American history. So I think this is on my list for this year, my TBR. As is this, which is another African American history written by an Asian author, Elian Wu. So this just came out. You could tell it's on my lucky day library list. Master, slave, husband, wife. This is based on a true story of an escape from the South pre-Civil War, where a woman, what was it? A woman dressed up as Ellen passed for white, disguised herself as a wealthy disabled man, and William was traveling as his slave. So it's a daring escape, and that just sounds fantastic. So I think what is it categorized as? Is it nonfiction or is it fiction? How did they treat it? No, it's nonfiction. But they're talking about it like it's a novel. Anyway, I guess I'll tell you after I read it, because that looks really good. It was on my wish list, and I kept saying, that's a lot. So I'm gonna read it from the library. This I bought from Up Books, What We Fed to the Manticore by Talia Lakshmi Kalluri. This is a collection of short stories that I was just moved to get several months ago at a used bookstore that seem really vibrant. I think it might have been a cover buy, maybe just a little bit, because it's gorgeous. Short stories. This was a gift for my birthday. So The Phoenix Crown, it's going to be historical fiction, and it's written jointly by Kate Quinn and Janie Chang, who are both historical fiction authors. And so it's very interesting to hear about these co-writing situations, just like The Personal Librarian, which is written by a white and a black author in tandem. And so I think this would be very interesting to read. It's a San Francisco 1906 novel, which, if you followed along, I have a little soft spot for. And yeah, it looks very interesting. So I'm excited about that one. Maybe that'll be like on the May list. This one I just picked up used. Zen chose The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water, and I believe this is fantasy. A bandit walks into a coffee house, and it all goes downhill from there. So, I mean, and it's small, so it's like should be a short read. The fun author picture, and she's won a Hugo Award and lives in the UK. So, I mean, that looks like a fun one. And we've got Indian with talking about the East India Company. Is it? Company Daughters. Yes, East India Company. Samantha Rajaram, The Company Daughters. This is a book I got at the beginning of being, I feel like 2021 maybe, when I went to the conference. No, that was 2017. Anyway, it's been a few years. I got this early on when I was still like buying books of people I hadn't met. It sounds interesting, but it's before my time period. It's in the 17th century, and it's about the phenomenon of kind of like frontier brides, where women were very desired in areas where white women couldn't go, but the colonists were needed to conquer the world. And so they were sent out, and it was very dangerous, and their treatment was iffy at best. And so this is like a story of a servant and a wife, potential wife. And I think they go out to like Australia. So very different from my normal like areas, but looked really interesting. I just haven't read it. And then this one for the nonfiction, World of Wonders by Amy Nezhukumatathil. And this is like just one of those pretty books that's supposed to just capture your imagination and be a way to familiarize yourself with the natural world, with really nice pictures. And it's just about, you know, cultivating wonder in the world, which is sort of my brand. So I should have read this, but I've had it for, I don't know, over a year at least. In praise of fireflies, whale sharks, and other astonishments. So that's a good vibe. I'll take it. So that's my loose pile of possibilities for my May TBR. And I've got a lot of readings to do, y'all. So, yeah. Let's see. Shannon says, sounds like my floor. I clean up all the books, just have to crawl out of bookshelves, boxes, and packages and congregate all around me at my desk. Yeah. What was it? I was joking with my friend yesterday because we went into several bookstores for Independent Bookstore Day, and most of them were used, and they had boxes around from stuff they'd taken in that they hadn't put on the shelves yet or they didn't have room for. And that made it a little hard to get through the aisles because we were constantly batting into all the cardboard box lids. They're attacking us, which is kind of true. And yeah, Good Feet on Haul. Yeah, I realized I have a goal of transforming this wall, which means getting rid of a lot of books. And so I'm finally taking myself seriously on that goal. Yeah. I have a hard time getting rid of books. Yeah. It's hard. Like I just made the click in my brain of, okay, I'm not going to watch the Outlander DVDs anymore. I should get rid of those. Every small bit of space adds up. I just need to start letting go and selling off or getting rid of. Like, just do it. Make room for the new dream. Unless I didn't care for the book, each one is a stab in my soul. Yeah. Leah says same. I know. Leah says I was looking at that book in my last bookstore. Wait, which one? This one? This one? Which one? Oh, the Phoenix Crown. Oh, cool. That's the one my friend got me for my birthday. Well, I would say you still have birthday mojo going on, Leah. Your birthday is the day after mine, so birthday week, it's a birthday treat. I give you the privilege. Jen says I love that name. The Phoenix Crown, I think, the title. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see, have I done all the stuff I was supposed to for today? So the only thing I have, which I don't think you guys will need to know, but in case you come upon this live stream and are a curious author who hasn't heard of the AuthorTube Writing Conference, the next live stream for me will be Wednesday on Shannon's channel. I will be joining Devin and Shannon to talk about the full schedule of speakers. So if you want to know who's going to be speaking and what the topics are, it will be going up on the website, and then we'll be talking about it on Wednesday and highlighting all the lovely things that are coming for the conference at the end of June. Hi, Mom. Letting go is hard. Oh boy, don't we know it. If it's not books, it's anything else in the house. So that is my list of recommendations, my love recommendations for Asian Readathon in May. You can also contribute with mental health for May, or I've seen some people put up their misery May TBRs, which I don't need, but it sounds fun. And yeah, just celebrate the work of Asian authors and diversify your reading shelf, because new perspectives are always interesting and tend to help people get along. So that's my advice for the day. Happy Sunday, everybody. Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yes, we're just finishing up. And thanks for stopping in. So happy reading, everybody. Happy concocting those TBRs and piles of possibilities. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.